Hello and welcome. My name is Shige Sakurai. I go by they, them pronouns. I will now share a brief visual description of myself for accessibility. I'm a mixed race, Japanese descent, trans, and non-binary person of color in my 40s with wavy black hair and a salt and pepper goatee. I'm wearing a black clergy robe, thick black hoop earrings, a wooden pendant with a tree of life motif, and a stole with both the warm browns and oranges of fall, and also a cool blue color from winter. I'm a member of this congregation and also ordained clergy in a nature spirituality church. I often attend All Souls congregation online, and I give a special welcome to our many online congregants. Today's service will be a bit different from what you may be used to, as we will engage in a restful spiritual practice together. Breathe, release, and please join me in this flow of mystery and miracle today. It is a joy to worship together. As we light this chalice, we feel the rays of fire that warm us, that inspire our hearts. As the wonder, in beautiful quietude of this dark half of the year, continue. Come, let us make sacred our practices of rest. Please rise in body or in spirit for our first hymn.
Good morning. My name is John Matthews, and I am your worship associate today. My pronouns are he, him. Greetings, and welcome to All Souls Church. Welcome to a community where our search for spirituality and our passion for justice meet and mingle, where reverence for the earth and belief in the dignity of every person inform our ethics, where music is an expression of our joy, acts of justice a symbol of our hope, and exercises of community and caring an expression of our love. Welcome to a place where when we say all souls, we mean it. A place where all people of all races, creeds, sexual orientations, where all people are welcome at the table of love and fellowship. Welcome, one and all. If you are visiting for the very first time, the very second time, or even the very 30th time, but still feel new here, please raise your hand so that we can give you an All Souls welcome. Do we have any visitors? Our weekly email newsletter is the best way to find out the latest news. Please sign up through the link on the All Souls homepage. And please see the order of service for all the many, many holiday events. We are deepening our weekly land acknowledgement as a commitment towards being a beloved community. The indigenous Piscataway tribes have for generations been the traditional caretakers of these lands. They were once trading peoples in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, living and moving along what we now call the Anacostia and Potomac rivers. Over 200 years, 3 All Souls church buildings were built on sites taken from the native peoples. Descendants of those indigenous ancestors are still here in this region and in this congregation. To repair this harm, our congregation must learn more, with an intention to build and deepen authentic relationships. We invite the All Souls community into an extended time of education wherever you reside. You might begin by visiting the National Museum of the American Indian, online or in person. We will invite you into more dialogue in 2024. Today, we honor the legacy of many indigenous tribes who continue to gather at this international crossroads called Washington, D.C., by the settler colonists who also founded this church. Now, I invite you to greet one another. On Zoom, hello Zoomers. Go to Gallery View and turn your camera on if willing and able. In the sanctuary, feel free to get up and move around as you're comfortable. Let's take some time to say hello. We'll continue the service now, but of course we can keep our conversations, greetings, and get to know yous going after our service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jubilee singers and Director Carl, organist Keith. They're keeping us guessing, roaming around the building this morning, and it's beautiful. We appreciate the music. I am Reverend Louise Green, pronouns she, her. I will point towards many holiday opportunities at All Souls over the next weeks. And as always, the order of service is with you. The website is available. The newsletter is there to read, and that'll give you all the details. Coffee hour is in Pierce Hall to the right after this service. There is a welcoming corner for our newcomers, and you can take a red mug if you want to encourage conversation. And our holiday craft and bake sale is happening right in there today and next Sunday. There are many forms of payment to suit your technological needs or lack thereof. And there's some great stuff and beautiful baked goods, so please enjoy the party. The Clinica del Pueblo toy drive is going on through December 13th. Bring in your unwrapped presents to the boxes in Reeb Lobby to the left or out in the front at 16th Street. The Holiday Ornament Exchange is up and running. You make or buy a lovely ornament, and then you trade it with another person or family just for joy and fun. You can sign up for that. Next week, the annual Christmas pageant is on Sunday. More volunteers are always welcome to help support this amazing tradition, which has a cast of characters that's fabulous. There is a weekly newsletter for the sign-up, or you can talk to Laura, our Director of Religious Education, or Keith, Director of Music and Arts. On Monday, next week, not tomorrow, a week from Monday, there's our all-ages caroling party. You meet in Reeb, you drink some cocoa, you go spread cheer in Columbia Heights, singing together. On Wednesday, December 20th, there's a solstice service in the Reeb lobby at 7 o'clock with a bonfire, s'mores, and treats. And finally, all the way 12 days of Christmas, Epiphany this year. We are having a community storytelling forum here in the sanctuary on a Saturday midday. 10:30 to 12:30, more details coming, all ages welcome. That is the season. So I hope to see you and connect in the ways that bring joy and light and love to you. And while these services and activities for the holidays are abounding, of course, the life of the congregation is going on in many other important ways. The All Souls Board of Trustees has drafted the goals for developmental ministry. This is in the next congregational year in the search for the next developmental minister, senior minister to work in the ET, executive team. So there are two opportunities to learn more and provide input. One is live today, upstairs or up the elevator in the Eaton room, back this direction. The second is on Zoom, Tuesday at 7. And there's also a handy QR code for input on a document, if you would like to do it that way. So the board welcomes your input and feedback for the developmental goals for the next minister in the executive team next year. All right, if your head isn't spinning, like from here to there and all around, we ground again right here. And now there is some important and inspiring news from our wonderful and generous co-chairs of our All Souls Capital campaign. The campaign is called Hope Rises. And let's give a warm welcome to Jeff Wilklow and Anna Hargrave.
Hello, I'm Jeff Wilklow, co-chair of the Hope Rises Capital campaign, along with my colleague Anna Hargrave. You may recall that Anna and I co-chaired the Generosity Stewardship campaign last year, and as I like to say, because no good deed goes unpunished, we've been invited to come back and chair this campaign. But I wanted to tell you, just spend a minute to tell you why I'm involved in this. My wife Sally and I are longtime UUs, nearly 30 years. But newbies to this church. We were attracted to All Souls for a variety of reasons. Certainly coming from a suburban church with folding chairs, and a 12-person choir, coming down here with the steeple and the organ and the balcony and the choir and all of the impressive accoutrements that go with a real church. We were just so impressed by that. But more importantly, we were impressed by the work that goes on here. First, there's this rich tradition. I mean, for those of you who've been involved for a while, you may have kind of lost track of just how important this church is. And for those of you who are new here, you may not quite know that yet, but part of that was reflected in as we celebrate our 200th anniversary, and we talked about the history of this church, and it's just impressive to think this church itself has been here 100 years, the congregation 200. Our bell was cast by Paul Revere's son. James Monroe donated $100 to help buy the bell, which in today's dollars, by the way, is $3,000. So we're going to send a letter to President Biden and suggest that he might want to continue that tradition. But from Frederick Douglass to Calvin Coolidge to Angela Davis to Charlie Bird and Stan Getz recording in Pierce Hall, my dad would be really impressed with that. I think we may have had that album in the hi-fi. It's very impressive history here. More impressive is what's gone on in terms of the activism. We've always been at the forefront of whatever the social movement of the day was, and we're being called upon now to continue that legacy. So this church in this place, stone's throw from the White House, I think you can all agree we live in challenging times. Our voice is needed. Our voice is needed here in the Capitol. For those of you who are online from home, we want to be your community as well. We want to be your voice in Washington. And so the fact of where we are and the history that we have, this is a legacy that has been given to us that we want to continue and we want to honor because what we do here matters. So that's why we're here.
Now more than ever, the world needs our message. But in order for that message to get out, we need each other. I was told growing up that church is not a place, it's the people. It's you, it's all of us. We make church together. To do that, we need a place to gather. Think of it like if we are the flame and the building is the chalice that holds us. Now, the aha moment that compelled me to join the Capital Campaign Committee was when I learned about the water damage, which is especially hindering the spaces where our children learn and play. Most of you know I was born into this church. As a biracial kid growing up in the 80s, I took for granted that I had this diverse community wrapping its arms around me, giving me a safe, supportive place to figure out who I am and how I'm going to navigate this world. I didn't know how incredibly rare and precious this church is, but I certainly do now. I joined the Capital Campaign out of gratitude for those who built this space for me, in hope that it will continue to provide sanctuary for thousands more in the future, and with a certain knowledge that it will make a profound impact today for every single one of us.
So I've been involved in I'm a fundraising consultant. I've been involved in capital campaigns for decades. And one of the things I've learned is a successful campaign really always comes down to a few key things. One is having a reason to do it, a mission, a compelling case. Another is having really good, committed leadership. And I'm happy to say we have all of that here and more. And I just want to introduce you to some of the folks involved, because this is a congregation-wide lift. This isn't something that's going on off on the side. We're all going to be involved in this. And I just want to take a moment and ask if members of the campaign steering committee will stand. And those of you online, go ahead and raise your hands or signal that you're online. Members of the finance committee who've been working on what we need and how we're going to pay for this. Members of the building committee who've been really working hard on all of the issues that need to be done there. Members of our board who have said, yes, this is important and we're going to commit ourselves and our time to this. And I want to just thank all of you for your time and commitment to this, and very important. And we need additional help, so we're not done. If you're good at events, you like planning events, we've got a number planned, and we can use your help with that. If you're good at online communications, if you're part of our online community and want to help us figure out how to connect more with that to make this a more welcoming place for you, we need everybody's help. So feel free to reach out to the staff, reach out to Tracy and let her know that you're interested, and we'd love to have you involved. Because at the end of the day, what we do here, I said that this matters. Philanthropy is a ministry of our church. I mean, people really coming together, building things together. This is what we do. Supporting each other in this is going to be a very important part of what we do. And as you look at us, this is our national cathedral. For UUs, this is our national church. So it's important. This is a legacy that we've all inherited, so being able to take care of that is important. So the philanthropy is a ministry of our church, and the campaign will be a very important part of that ministry.
So the feasibility study is underway. There will be a report to the board, and then in January, we will vote to move forward. All those things will happen. But the real next step will be our decision and commitment to allow hope to keep rising in this community and in this place. We can get this done. When we commit, when we come together, hope can still rise for us, for our children here today, for all those who walk through our doors looking for hope, and the many who will join us tomorrow. Thank you.
Let me add my personal thanks to the co-chairs and all the leaders who just stood or who are online for these committees. They work hours and hours and hours, y'all, on our behalf, and I am grateful. Thank you. As we move to the second half of our service, I want to offer a warm welcome to the Reverend Shige Sakurai, our guest preacher, UUA staff leader, and much appreciated All Souls member. Yay. It has really been a joy to work on this service together. I am so grateful for their many contributions to this day, to our community, and our Unitarian Universalist movement. And now, if there are names and situations that are on your mind or in your heart, would you say them aloud, or would you put them in the chat, or ponder them in silence for a moment, a time for shared prayer? Now would you pray or meditate with me? Spirit of life, holy ones of many names, that for which there is no language. We hold so much complex and abundant life as community, as families, as individual beings. The joys, the sorrows, the hopes and dreams, the grief and the yearning that is so present with us, so palpable. And we gather our spirits now for a time of contemplation, of meditation, or prayer. We tune into the stillness, the holy quiet of this moment in a sacred circle. May we humbly open to mystery and all that we do not understand or control or design. Let the abundant light shine on the tiny miracles that are present in this room, all around us, throughout this building, into our biosphere and weaving through our one earth home. Blessed be. Amen.
Do you remember play? Do you still play? One of my favorite games to play as a child was pretend, to create entire worlds out of whole cloth. For me, magic is going into that space where everything is possible and returning with something incredible. It is creativity itself. Sometimes the most magical ideas, the ones that can heal the world or at least your spirit, come about when you're at rest or daydreaming. Creative blocks can happen when we're pressured into productivity. Magic happens when it's least expected, but also when we create the playful or restful space for it to emerge gently. In modern US life, progressing into adulthood often means that it is hard to have spaciousness. We strip away our spirit of play as if it were a bad thing. We're concerned with survival, productivity, labor, careers. Even those of us who are not working paid jobs, whether it's by necessity or by choice, we often feel a pressure, a lack of an identity that we've made important in this modern world, an identity related to labor. While work has its value, so does rest. And today, I want to invite you into some restful spiritual practices together. Perhaps rest is one of our most original human rights and sacred rights. The literal origin of the word Sabbath is not 7 days, and it's not worship, it is rest. The etymology of the word rest itself may have been the physical distance at which one takes a break. In both cases, there is a time or a distance at which rest is cyclical and ingrained in repeated practice. So come with me on a journey and let us create some spaciousness and playfulness in community. I want to spend some time together in a spiritual practice of resting in true nature, of playfully reflecting on this moment, this body, this universe, where we find ourselves. And I want you to understand that I'm using a few forms that draw from modern Druidry, and to try to explain a little bit of that, but I won't be able to explain a lot of it in much depth in the time that we have today. On the screen, there will be images of a Druid symbol I'll explain momentarily, with beautiful illustrations adding color and nature motifs around the symbol. These images were all painted by Dana O'Driscoll, and more information about her arts can be found at thedruidsgarden.com. So I am ordained clergy in a nature spirituality church that's part of a modern Druid organization. Modern Druids have been around for hundreds of years and come about in the Druid revival, which takes hold in the late 1700s. While this revival is inspired by ancient Druids, it is very modern. There are many ties and overlaps between Druids and Unitarians and Universalists in this history. Druids, like UUs, are not dogmatic, and we hold pluralistic theologies and spiritual practices, so there's not just one right way to do things. Yet there are also common threads and interests that many people carry. One reason I came into Druidry was that many Druid organizations have spiritual deepening lessons, curricula, frameworks that provide this open space for exploration. And as I was exploring my Japanese heritage in Shinto religion, I found many common aspects of nature-based spirituality in Druidry that helped me to explore these interests. One of the pivotal figures in the founding of the cultural but also spiritual branches of the Druid revival was Iolo Morgannwg, a Welsh Unitarian stonemason, poet, and abolitionist. He co-founded the Unitarian denomination in Wales and wrote numerous Unitarian hymns in Welsh. In the 1790s, he originated a symbol of 3 rays of light, one in the middle coming straight down, and 2 coming down to its sides in diagonals. Iolo Morgannwg described the symbol of 3 rays as the ineffable name of the divine. And more recently, it has been called the Awen symbol. The word Awen, A-W-E-N, is a Welsh word meaning inspiration, particularly poetic inspiration, and in the Druid context, also divine inspiration. The Awen symbol frequently is shown with 3 dots, one at the top of each ray of light, as in 3 droplets of inspiration. And in the Druid context, Awen is understood like an energy, a force in the universe. What calls us? What inspires us? What warms us as these rays shine down upon us? In a little bit, I will invite you into a spiritual practice, and you can choose what parts you want to join, but you are all invited to chant the Awen with me. And in doing so, we pronounce the word as if it were 3 syllables, like the 3 rays in the Awen symbol. Awen. So let us practice chanting it like that 3 times in unison now. You can stay in your seats, but practice with me. Feel free to chant in whatever pitch or harmonization is fun for you. You can play with it. So we'll do it 3 times. Awen. 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 Thank you. So now we're going to practice it a little differently in a cascading form. So this is like singing in a round, but there's no rhythm, there's no beat where you have to come in. You can come in whenever you want. We will keep repeating the chant until I put my hand up, and then people can taper out by ending whenever you finish the word. So we'll try that now, whenever you want. Thank you. So, some of the key figures in the development of modern Druidry included socialists, labor unionists, and abolitionists, all interests that were related to fair and human practices in labor. One of the reasons the Druid revival took hold in the late 18th century was that, in part, it was a reaction to the Industrial Revolution. It was a back to the land movement, a movement in Romanticism, and it had a relationship to critiquing factory work, capitalist mentality, and labor abuses. So when we consider alternatives to labor, particularly the harmful conditions that we contextualize work and cultures of work and overwork, let us consider rest. And as we approach the winter solstice, the beautiful darkness, a time for recharging, let us practice rest, resting in our humanity, resting in ourselves, resting in nature, resting in our own sense of self, our own true nature. When we reconnect with the earth, the universe, each other, and ourselves, what dreams could emerge?
Thank you for that message. I definitely need to take more time to rest. Much like Shige, though, I love to play as a youngster, and especially play pretend. My favorite games included house, hide and seek, especially at night with flashlights, and my favorite, kick the can, which was kind of a competitive hide and seek with the very satisfying possibility of kicking a can really far. I love the expectation and nervousness when hiding, the uncertainty while seeking of whether I'd successfully find everyone, the running at top speed to kick the can before I was tagged or the other person kicked the can first or whatever. The fact that we played all those games outdoors, even house, added to what is now for me a deep appreciation for nature, birds, clouds, sunlight, the stars. Wonder, the mystery of the cosmos, never failed, even now never fails, to fill me with awe and mystery about what is out there. While that mystery fills me with joy and wonder, a mystery I have no interest in cultivating is whether or not this church, this congregation, will ever be able to successfully conduct its business, or whether this incredible building will be able to host us on Sundays, whether Shige and Bill and Louise and others will be here to lead us in contemplation of the world, of ourselves, of the call to social justice. For all of these reasons, we give generously in my family to All Souls. Each month, we give 50% of non-pledge offerings to the wider community. Our December recipient is Miriam's Kitchen, a Washington, D.C. organization focused on ending chronic homelessness. All Souls has worked with Miriam's Kitchen over the last few years to help support individuals in need that we meet right around our church. In the sanctuary, the ushers will be passing the plate for our offering. You may also text to All Souls by sending ASCU to 73256. On Zoom, click the link in the chat, which will direct you to online giving. Thank you in advance for your generosity.
I
A sacred grove is a place among the trees to engage in spiritual practices. This grove can be literal, especially as in our physical sanctuary here is in a city of trees, though the sacred grove can also be a place in our hearts, a place beyond the apparent world. Throughout our journey, you always have choices. You can join in the chanting or simply observe. You can always open or close your eyes. You can always move around, leave the room, touch your hands or your temples or your body to reground yourself. You might actually fall asleep during this short practice, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about if you do. That's just your body telling you something very human. Not every spiritual practice resonates for every person, but this is at least a time you can use to observe and reflect on what it means to rest. As we enter into a time of deepening spiritual practice, let us enter this sacred grove together. First, let us chant Awen 3 times in unison as we feel into a sense of inspiration. Awen, Awen, Awen. If you wish to let your eyes close at this time, you're invited to do so. In your inner world, you might notice yourself moving down a trail into a forest. And as you move along deeper and deeper into the forest, you find your sacred grove. Perhaps this is your first time in this place, or perhaps it is a place you have been to many times before. Your sacred grove makes you feel safe, welcomed, and relaxed. As you enter your grove, observe all of nature around you. Breathe a little and release any tensions. Then notice. Notice the ground and the trees, the colors, textures, sounds, sensations. Notice the season, the weather, the time of day. As you settle into the sacred grove, let us invite our attention to the directions and the elements of nature itself. As I invoke the powers of the directions and elements, you might notice representations of them inside your grove to help you deepen in them. I call upon the powers of the east and the element of air. Air is often symbolized with a feather or with incense, and it reminds us of our breathing, a necessity for human life. Air is often associated with the conscious mind and intelligence. Let us deepen in a sense of protection and rest that the powers of air can bring. I call upon the powers of the south and the element of fire. Fire is often symbolized with a candle and reminds us of the blood flowing through our bodies, the beating of the heart. Fire is often associated with strength and transformation. Let us deepen in a sense of protection and rest that the powers of fire can bring. I call upon the powers of the west and the element of water. Water is often symbolized with a shell or a cup and reminds us that we need water to survive and that the majority of our very bodies are made of water. Water is often associated with emotion and imagination. Let us deepen in a sense of protection and rest that the powers of water can bring. I call upon the powers of the north and the element of earth. Earth is often symbolized with a rock or soil and reminds us that our bodies come from the earth and will return to it one day. Earth is often associated with stability and groundedness. Let us deepen in a sense of protection and rest that the power of earth can bring. Finally, I call upon the powers of the center, the powers from within, and the element of spirit or quintessence. This most mysterious element is the between and beyond itself. It might be our very souls. It could be symbolized by our flaming chalice. It returns us to our center. Let us deepen in a sense of protection and rest that these powers from within can bring. Within your grove, it is time for rest, time for healing. Having called upon these powers for protection, we are fully comfortable within our groves. Dusk is setting in. Find a place in your sacred grove for rest. Perhaps you have a warm blanket or a soft part of the ground to rest upon. You have found your place for maximum comfort. If you want, you can close your inner eyes. The sky is dark now, a velvety black, gently pierced with the shining of the stars. The stars are giving off little rays of love, and as you drift into rest, these rays gently touch your skin and help you to feel restored. As you rest, notice what it is for you just to be you. How does it feel to simply be you? As you rest, notice what it is to connect with nature. How does it feel to be resting in nature? As you rest, notice what it is to connect with your own true nature. What does it feel like to rest in your own true nature? As the stars touch you with love and healing, begin to feel the restoration in your body, in your mind, and in your spirit. Slowly and gently, it is coming time for a new dawn, a new day. Ease yourself into wakefulness, and you might now open your inner eyes. Notice again your sacred grove as the sun rises upon it. We thank the powers of air, fire, water, earth, and spirit for their blessings, and we thank the directions. We release the container of this sacred grove and allow it to fade away, knowing that we can always return. And as we do this, we can open our eyes fully and return to this material world in this online or physical sanctuary of All Souls. Take a moment to stretch and let us rise in body or spirit. And now let us sing the Cascading Awens. Again, come in whenever you want. It is not on a beat. As you do so, you might feel the flow of rest and resilience as we weave our voices and senses of inspiration together. Again, begin when you want. Simply keep repeating Awen, and when I put my hand up, you will sing your last Awen. And finally, as is our tradition at All Souls, we will sing the Spirit of Life hymn. And as you do so today, I want you to really feel into the animating spirit that gives you life, the energies that we can only get when we rest in our true natures. Grant, O divine, thy protection, and in protection strength, and in strength reason, and in reason knowledge, and in knowledge truth, and in truth justice, and in justice love, and in love the love of the divine, and in the love of the divine the love of every animation and existence. Amen, and so may it be.
All right, everyone, we've got some choreography for the benediction. Is that okay? All right, so what if I had peace? Can I see your peace? Peace like a river. Peace like a river. Peace like a river in my soul. How about that? Is that okay? That's not too bad, right? Okay. What if I had joy like a fountain? Can that work? Yeah, joy like a fountain. Joy like a fountain in my soul. And what about love like the ocean? Love like the ocean. Yeah? All right, you guys got it. We got a dance troupe here. Here we go.